Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the June 7th work session meeting of the Salisbury City Council. I'd like to welcome everybody that's participating. We have several items on the agenda tonight, and we were going to start off with a proclamation, and Deputy City Administrator Andy Kitzrow will make that presentation. Andy?
Thank you, Council President. So this month is a very big month here in the city of Salisbury. We are really excited about what we were able to be celebrating with our community. If you've been downtown recently, you've seen we've put up our flags that we love to fly in downtown Salisbury, and we're touching up some of our additional items that we have put in place to celebrate this month. So I'd like to do a proclamation right now. So whereas June has become a symbolic month in which lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, LGBTQ persons and supporters come together in various celebrations of pride, and whereas June 28th, 2019 marked the 50th anniversary of the beginning of the Stonewall Uprising in New York City, which symbolizes the start of the LGBTQ liberation struggle in America. And whereas various advancements have been made with respect to equitable treatment of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning persons throughout the nation, there continues to be some oppositions against people from the LGBTQ community, making it important for cities like Salisbury to stand up and show support for the affected residents. And whereas PFLAG, the first large organization for the LGBTQ community, their parents, families, and allies with over 400 chapters, 200,000 members, and supporters across multiple generations of families in major urban centers, small cities, and rural areas across America, is committed to creating a world where diversity is celebrated and all people are respected, valued, and affirmed. And whereas this year, PFLAG on June 12th will be remembering the victims of the Pulse nightclub attack on the occasion the 5th anniversary of the attack, and on June 26th, the repainting the first rainbow crosswalk in Maryland. And whereas the rainbow flag, also known as the LGBTQ pride flag or gay pride flag, has been used since the 1970s as a symbol of the LGBTQ pride and social movements, and whereas the city of Salisbury has a diverse LGBTQ community, and many other residents, students, city employees, and business owners who contribute to the enrichment of our city are part of the LGBTQ community. And whereas the city of Salisbury will raise the pride flag on June 1st outside the government office building in the celebration of the LGBTQ community and demonstrations of the continued commitment to supporting visibility, dignity, and equity for all people in the community. Now, therefore, I, Andy Kitzrow, Deputy City Administrator, on behalf of the Mayor of City of Salisbury, Jacob R. Day, do hereby proclaim June 2021 as LGBTQ Pride Month. Now, to follow that up, I would like to turn it over to Mark Delancey, who is with us today. He has a presentation from PFLAG. He is the Executive Director, and I'll let him introduce himself. So Mark, the floor is yours.
Sorry, there was on mute. Thank you very much, Andy. Appreciate it. Hope everyone is doing well today. I just wanted to say thank you so much from the PFLAG. Would like to take a moment of your time to say thank you to our friends, our colleagues, allies, and all the council members, and including the mayor for the proclamation. I just want to reiterate that this is more than just a mere piece of paper. It reflects not only the dedication of the city and its residents to insist change through growth, but also the respect for all marginalized residents who sometimes feel that their voices aren't ever heard or respected or even represented in any way, shape, or form. So I want to say thank you for that. Also, this simple act, while confusing to some, minuscule to others, and or unfair, it sets a shining example that this city and all its residents are all equal. And I can't emphasize those three words enough. And it's Salisbury City and its residents and PFLAG's mission is to continue to march forward in this undying effort to lift those who are marginalized, forgotten, and neglected. We will continue to move forward, and hopefully this momentum will move us in a direction of awareness and growth. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I appreciate it very much. And if there's any questions anybody has really quick, I don't know if you have time, but we have a lot of upcoming events. And if you want to check any of them out, we have them on our website.
Thank you, Mark. I'll open the floor for comments from the council. So we'll start with Mr. Boda.
Hey, glad that we can all celebrate Equality and Pride Month, and I'm glad that we can be a shining example of that on the Eastern Shore. And so thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mayor. Mark, thank you for everything you do. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ms. Jackson is not on right now, so I'll go to Ms. Blake. Angela.
Hi. This is just one of the great reasons why I love Salisbury. I just think it's remarkable that here on the Eastern Shore that we are such a leader in diversity and inclusion of all kind. And it's just wonderful that we were able to do this proclamation. And that's about it. That sums it up.
Thank you, Angela. Michelle?
I just want to say happy Pride, and I'm looking forward to being out there on the hot pavement trying to repaint that crosswalk. I'm looking forward to that one.
Me too. Appreciate it, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. From my perspective, I can remember putting on the plaza, raising the flag. That was a few years ago. And my mantra has always been that what makes this city great is its people. And it's not just some of the people, it's all the people. So congratulations for the recognition for this month, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll go to the next item on the agenda, and that is the Chesapeake Utility update. Amanda, I'm assuming you're going to give that, so.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So this is your monthly update from Chesapeake Utilities. Much of the same activities are ongoing in the city, and by mid-May, they had installed approximately 82% of the gas pipeline that's going into Salisbury. Additionally, one update that I wanted to note is that we have submitted to Chesapeake Utilities the area that we would like to obtain that they own their property, where we would like an easement for the rail trail. So they are working on that through their corporate office. So as always, I'd be happy to send any questions that you have to Chesapeake and get those answered for you.
If anyone has any questions, raise your hand and I can see and I'll call on you. Angela?
I know that we had this conversation about they didn't want trees over their pipelines, but then I got to wondering, what would it be like to have like shrubbery or something, maybe 3 feet away from their pipeline, but still like shrubbery where the roots won't go so far down to their, or some type of greenery or something to replace what they did take.
So that certainly is a possibility. That's a better possibility than putting large trees over it. So I could certainly ask them that. They are doing a tree planting at Lake Street Playground to help offset the trees that they did take down, but I can certainly ask them if they're willing to, in the locations where they remove trees, put some shrubbery.
Thank you, Angela. Anyone else? I know, Mir.
I noticed also on 13 where Delmarva Power is installing some newer lines that are offset from the road. I don't know if you saw that. They got like, I just saw it this morning when I came to work. They were installing some newer poles where some of them were like right on the edge of the sidewalk. Now they're moving, looked like over where some of those trees were taken down. So.
Thank you. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I will give it one more shot. The wording on the last two bullet points concern me relative to they're going to check and see about safety and other things in reference to the lines and the rail trail. This should have all been hammered out prior to us having to find out through the passage by the Public Works Department that this was approved. And I do have a concern. Is there a concern on our part that the rail trail, because of this, might be impacted or diverted?
I don't think it should be because again, there are gas mains throughout our city streets. So it really should not be an issue to have a main near the rail trail. And again, this is that last bullet point is actually even just talking about, it's not necessarily over a gas main. It's trying to utilize some of their property to give us some more distance away from the railroad. But no, I don't have any concerns about safety there. You know, we had originally talked when we started setting up these monthly updates that we could invite Chesapeake back for a meeting and maybe at our next monthly update in July, it might be an appropriate time. I think it's been half a year since they came before you. So maybe I should invite them back for the next one and just talk through some of those items.
I think that's a good idea because I think at the time we also said, in addition to the monthly updates, we like to see them in 6 months. And I think you're correct. I think we're at that point right now. So if you could set that up, that would be great.
Okay, I will do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, we have the Pentex Beaver Run Drive annexation petition. And Mr. Holland will take us through that. Good afternoon, Bill.
Good afternoon. Good to see you all again. Before I get started, I have two individuals that's probably on this Zoom, and one is William Owens, who's the Assistant Vice President of Pentex Ventures, and Jeff Harmon, engineer from Becker Morgan, who's assisting them through the engineering and the annexation. The city recently received a petition for a little over a 3-acre site, northeast corner of Route 15 Walson Switch Road, to be annexed into the city. If you remember, maybe back in 2017 and 18, this property started the annexation through another petitioner and ran into some hurdles. I think this has been ironed out, and Pentex Ventures wants to go ahead and carry this through. This request contains a concept development plan for a new 7-Eleven convenience store. There would be new stormwater management, new landscaping, new everything. And this is again an introduction of the annexation to the council, requesting the council's approval to move this annexation forward to the planning commission to get rezoned. And if you have any questions, here to answer.
Any questions from the council? Mr. Boda?
Nope, I'm good with it.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
No questions.
This is Gregory.
No questions.
Bill, the current zoning, what's the current zoning?
It did go through rezoning. It was commercial, non-residential, or something to that effect, but it did get rezoned. But we're going to start the process all over just to make everything clear and everything clean.
Okay, because I remember that we had talked about that at the planning commission.
Right, it did get rezoned, but the legal department recommended that we go through it again since it's a different petitioner.
Okay.
And hopefully it will be a stepping stone for other businesses there in Beaver Park to get annexed into the city.
Right. Thank you. Any comments? Would anyone, William, would you like to make a comment, or Jeff? No? Jeff?
I don't have anything else to add. I think, Bill summarized it well. Pentex is coming in and they want to continue with sort of the same idea as what was there before, is to redevelop this, bring it into the city, bring public utilities. I think it'll be a great corner to bring into the city across there from Tri-County Council, which came in a few years ago. And so I just think it's a great project for the city.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. I will poll the council now to see if we want to move this forward. Mr. Boda?
I'm good. Moving forward.
Ms. Blake?
Yes, please move it forward.
This is Gregory.
Move it forward.
Thank you. I agree. Move it forward. Mr. Nichols, can we make sure that's on the the next meeting agenda. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Bill.
Okay. Have a good evening.
Next up is an ordinance to abandon the alley between Davis Street and East William Street. And Ms. Pollock is going to take us through that again. Go ahead.
Yes. So this is an alley abandonment, as you said, just north of East Main Street between Davis Street and East William Street. And we've been working with the Healing Hands Animal Hospital to look at a re-subdivision plat. And we realized that there's still an older alley that's that subdivides essentially their property, and it's not being used at all for the public. So when we get these requests for alley abandonment, we see if there's any public use. Did trash trucks use it? Are people using it to access their properties? And we did not find any public benefit or use right now. So the city surveyor sent letters with an exhibit that's attached to your work session package to all the property owners that are on the alley. And they have all concurred that they're fine with the alley being abandoned. So that is what's before you today. I included a sample letter as well as the ordinance to abandon the alley, and then the exhibit that shows you the extents of the alley. So hopefully where all the property owners have concurred with this, this is a relatively straightforward abandonment.
Thank you, Mrs. Pollock. Appreciate it. Questions from the council, Mr. Boda?
No questions. I'm good with moving it forward.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
No questions. Move it forward.
Thank you. Mrs. Gregory?
No questions, move it forward.
Thank you. I agree. Mrs. Nichols, could you please make sure that's on the agenda? Thank you. Next up, we have a resolution agreement for a land swap on 116 West Chestnut. Amanda, you've got a whole string running, so go right ahead.
I do. I'll try to be brief. So this
That's
is
okay.
a land swap request that we received from Roof Service of Delmarva, and their property is at 116 West Chestnut Street. And you all have the exhibit in your package, and I think that shows it fairly clearly. Their property is shown highlighted with a light blue line, and the boundary of city's parking lot 13 is outlined in yellow on the exhibit. And essentially, Roof Service would like to erect a fence around their property to be able to secure their property so that they can store materials and park their vehicles there. And they could utilize their property better with that additional land that's shown in the hatching that would be the swap from the city. That area is essentially not utilized by the city right now, just by the means of where that concrete median is. So of course this abuts a city parking lot, but for us to actually park in those spaces, we would have to reconfigure much of that lot because it's not wide enough right now to have a drive aisle and parking spaces. So it's not being utilized. The swap that they're proposing, so that was the blue hatch area, I'm sorry, the yellow hatch area that they're proposing to swap would give the city access through kind of alleys and other paper streets that are adjacent to these parcels. So it is a benefit to the city to have that area become city property and then swap for them so that they can have a better laydown area for their equipment and their vehicles. So what is before you today is a resolution to then move forward with the agreement to do this work. So then if this resolution passes, you can see the sample agreement is also in your package. And essentially Roof Services would then begin the actual subdivision work and the surveying. So right now this is drawn as a concept, but they would actually perform all the necessary survey work. It would get reviewed by the city surveyor as well as the city attorney's office. But this would authorize that to begin.
All right, questions from the council, Mr. Boda?
Just right outside of Michael Sullivan's office, I think.
Yes.
Yes,
Make sure
it is.
Ron Alessi's okay with it. I'm good with it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Blake?
Is there any, what's the the benefit to the city for the swap? I'm just asking. I mean, I think it seems like a good idea, but I just want to know what the benefit to us is as the city.
Sure. So it essentially, it gives us the access to the, to Lemon Hill Road and to the other parking lot. It creates that access way where right now, there's just an easement in that area, but that would have us own the property. We would give them an easement to be able to drive on it if they would like, but right now that's, you know, that little yellow hatched area we don't actually own. So if that got fenced off, that would, you know, close off the area where we drive now through the parking lots.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You okay with moving it forward, Angela?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Gregory, questions and move it forward?
No questions, just move forward.
Thank you. And I know that I was trying to read a little thing. I see a thing up here. It's about 2,000 square feet we're picking up in exchange, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have no issues with it. Okay, Mrs. Nichols, we can start the process. It's going to take a little while, obviously. Okay. We'll move
Council
that forward.
President,
Yes.
Council President, the resolution approving the land swap agreement will be on the mayor and council agenda for the June 14th meeting. The documents relating to closing on the land swap, those will come thereafter. Is that okay with you?
Gotcha. That's fine. Okay, next up, Faith Baptist Church annexation agreement. Again.
Nice. So we discussed this at the May 17th work session. And after that work session, we went back and talked to the petitioners again. And what you have before you in your package is the same annexation agreement that we discussed on May 17th. It has been signed by the property owners. So they are showing that they are agreeing with the terms of the amended annexation agreement. And the main concern that the property owners had was that if the property wasn't sold within 12 months, would they be required to pay? But the agreement already had provisions in it that it would accrue interest and that they would have to pay any of the annexation fees as well as any accrued interest before they could obtain a certificate of occupancy. So essentially, no, we're not coming after them after 12 months. It's just that they will start to accrue interest. So we explained that again. And as I said, the property owners have signed the amended annexation agreement.
Okay. Questions from the council, Mr. Boda?
No, I'm ready to move this forward. Been ready for 5 years.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Blake?
Move it forward.
Thank you. Mrs. Gregory?
Move it forward.
Thank you. Mr. Sullivan, just checking for last time, you're okay with this as it's written?
The document presented to you this evening is exactly the same document that was presented to you on May 17th. I'm comfortable with its terms. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. And I agree to move it forward. So we'll move that forward. Mrs. Nichols. Next, we have an ordinance to adopt the Horizon program, and Deputy City Administrator Andy Kitzrow will take us through that.
I'm going to take the lead, but I also got Amanda since she's been talking all night. She's warmed up, so I'll use her as necessary. This is not new to anybody. This is the Horizon program that we spoke on in the fall where we passed a resolution. It is the state enabling legislation has passed in the state, and we are now ready to move forward with making it an ordinance so we can move forward. We already have one developer who is interested in submitting an application. In the packet, you have a copy of the ordinance, which then references 2 additional documents, the Horizon program and application, and then also the Horizon agreement. A developer would fill out the program and application. If approved, they would then enter into an agreement that was specific to their project. Both the application is reviewed and approved by Amanda initially from the city, and then approved by the council. And then the agreement is also reviewed by Amanda and pieces put together and then approved by the city. Anything I missed, Amanda, please follow up.
So I'll just say this is a lot like when we have EDU waivers where the application will come in our office, we'll review it for the content, and we'll put together an agreement and a resolution. So all of these will come before you for individual approvals. And that's why the agreement has some just highlighted areas. So that's just what a sample agreement would look like, so that you can see what kind of dates and other parameters we would have in that agreement. So you would know all that information before you were asked to approve anything.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments, and whether we should move it forward, Mr. Boda?
I think this is a great program and a great way to utilize some of these ideas to continue our growth downtown. One of our goals has always been to push forward the development of these parking lots that honestly should have been developed 50 years ago. So I fully support this, and I think this is going to be another tool in our toolbox for continued growth.
Thank you, Mr. Boda. And I'm assuming you want to move it forward. Yes, he's nodding. Okay. Ms. Blake?
Yes, move it forward.
Thank you. Mrs. Gregory?
I just had a question about the application. Is that all we're asking of them, or like how do they go through the process of being approved? Because I know we had discussed previously about putting in something about asking if they were going to use unionized labor. Is this the point in which we would do that, or is that later on as the application is reviewed?
So Michelle, to kind of, I guess, clarify, there's two different pieces conversation simultaneous. One is the actual Horizon program. So any project that is currently under development or in scope, we've not decided to change what they're going to build or how they're going to build it. It's their parameters. But as we consider some other properties that may come to be open for RFP for like lot 10 or something else, that is where we can explore adding some of those additional elements to give them points toward development.
Gotcha. Good deal. Yeah. Yeah. If we can do, if that's what the plan is, then move it forward.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, and I also would like to point out that my understanding was that this passed at the state level unanimously, which was really, really good. And I thank the legislators for supporting this. And we should have, there is no reason not to have full support for this program, because it benefits not just us, but the county and the entire Eastern Shore. So it's a good thing, and I'm glad to see it moving forward. Mrs. Nichols, that's the last item to move forward, I believe, tonight. Okay. I'll now have administration and council remarks. Mr. Boda.
Yep, getting ready for summer, and hope everybody is still be careful. If you're not vaccinated, so make sure you respect everyone else and wear a mask. And look forward to seeing everybody out and about this summer. And I think that's about it. Love you all. Bye.
Thanks, Mayor. Angela?
As always, well, first of all, enjoy the beautiful weather. I know it's warm, but I love it. And if you're healthy enough, please, please donate blood. I was fortunate to give blood this weekend, and I always encourage people to donate blood.
Thank you, Angela. Michelle?
Well, as I said before, happy Pride. There's been a couple of really good events, flag raising and the art installation downtown. If you haven't seen it yet, the Ribbons of Pride project is it's gorgeous. I love it. And there is another event coming up this Wednesday there's going to be a happy hour at Brooklyn. So I hope to see some folks there.
Thank you. Mr. Kitzrow, on behalf of the administration.
Yeah, Julia Glanz and Mayor Jake Day both send their best. They wish they were here. Julia is traveling right now, and Jake is still just getting back into the swing of things. He's got a lot of appointments set up. I think he gave Donna 100 appointments to put on his books, so he'll be busy till August. But we as a city are back to work like today. So you'll start seeing almost a full staff in the city building at the GOB, and operations will continue to slowly open up. So visitor center, finance department, everything will be opening up to the business. We're still working with the county on the actual hours of operation for the whole GOB building. Right now it's still limited to 9 to 3. But yeah, we haven't taken off because we've been teleworking, but we are excited to be back in front of everybody in the office and sharing that time together. So look to see everybody around the office.
Good, Andy. Thank you very much. Before I give my remarks, is there anybody that would like to make any comments from the audience, brief comments regarding anything that's been discussed on the agenda? Please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see anybody, so I will make my final remarks. This past weekend was a great weekend, and the week was a great week. My wife got me to take her out to dinner twice, and it was nice to see everybody. And I also got some pretty good, encouraging news that the two of the restaurants that I've been attending or in the last couple of weeks are really almost back up to full staff. And that's a great sign because they were limited not by COVID towards the end, but by the fact that they didn't have enough staff to open up all the tables. So that's a good sign as well. It is the summer and the kids are going to be out soon. And all I ask is that you be careful. We've seen a lot of tragedy, thank God, not in our area necessarily, but on the Eastern Shore with some of the things that have been happening. Just be careful because this is a great place to live and we want you to enjoy it, but we also want you to be safe. So with that, I will adjourn the meeting and we will see you next Monday. Have a good afternoon, everyone.